Hey everyone, Squiggly McPickens with Ants on a Melon. Today I'm going to be showing you how to clean and lubricate your BitWhip so that it's acting its best and looking its best. Okay, so there are some materials that you will need. First off is a microfiber cloth. You can pick one up at a dollar store, hardware store. They're super easy to come by and super cheap. Next is a silicone-based lubricant. Yes, the sexy kind, so don't be shy picking that up because it will give you flowy fibers and bright fibers. Next is a mild dish detergent. Something that is sensitive on your hands is great. If you're in the United States, we recommend Dr. Bronner's mild detergent. I use something like Palmolive, Dawn, whatever you have available will work. The frequency of cleaning kind of depends on your environment and how often you're using your whip. So, for indoor environments that are relatively clean, you will get some dust and dirt, it's inevitable, and grease from your hands. So I find myself cleaning my whip if I'm inside or in a clean environment much less often than somewhere much dirtier, say a festival or event or outside. So it's kind of up to you. If you find that they're looking a little bit dull or a little bit dirty, then definitely wash it. I find myself doing it maybe every few days or once a week if I'm indoors. Outdoors at a festival or a dirty place event with sand, dust, grime, all that bad stuff, you want to be doing that much more often, say every night at a festival for sure. This will ensure that your whip is super bright and super clean and flowy, so that's something you want to do. Separating your fibers is something that you'll find yourself doing pretty regularly, even when you're not about to wash your BitWhip. If you're somebody like me and you have longer hair, you might find that it gets more tangled up in the hair and wrapped around the fibers. So you'll end up separating those fibers just a little bit more often than, say, somebody with shorter hair. So I have a 6-foot orbit here. Just gonna let the bearing hang down and go to the end, the tail of the whip. So just with your fingers, run it through and gently pull apart the fibers. I stress gently. If you find yourself at a snag and it doesn't flow easily between your fingers, don't force it. You might end up breaking off some of your fibers. So if you find yourself in a spot like that, just go a little bit further back up the line and gently straighten them out. So you can see there's a little bit of hair, or you can't see, but there's a little bit of hair in mine, so I'm just combing it out, and I can feel it. I'm just pulling it out and working my way down the whip, just like that. And again, just be gentle. If you feel it snagging, don't force it. Just go back up a little bit higher and start from there. Oh, see, just like that. So they're getting a little bit more tangled at the end. So I just gently go higher up and separate those before going further. You can go back down and continue on until eventually all of your fibers are separated. Are separate now and ready for washing. So I'll pop on over to the sink and I'll show you how to do that. Okay, so to clean your BitWhip, first you must wet the fibers. So with the bearing pointing upright, just turn the water on and start to wet the fibers. You run it down all the way to the bottom and all the way up to the top. So you can see here that I'm holding it upright so I don't submerge the bearing, but I do want to get water as high as I can, as close as I can to the bearing. So once you have that all soaking wet, then you can get some of your detergent. Not too much, just a little bit in your hand like that. And you start to wipe the soap down the BitWhip to the very bottom. Just like that. So now that it's covered in soap, you want to start to massage the soap in between the fibers. Doing that by pressing them gently and pushing the soap in between them. Up here by the bearing, they're much tighter together. So be gentle, don't push in between them and crack them apart. You want to just very gently press the soap and it will do its thing and go in between all those fibers. So you massage the soap in all the way down to the very bottom, just like that, rubbing it in between. And it's all nice. Rinse the soap out, again with the bearing pointing upwards. Just turn the water back on and let it run through the fibers. And start by rinsing the soap off of your hand so you're not wiping more into it, and just fully wetting these fibers. And just as you did with the soap, just gently press them apart until you feel the difference between them. The soap will feel somewhat slimy, and the fibers will feel nice and smooth, so you'll be able to feel by touch when the soap is out of the whip. Up here by the bearing, I just want to tilt it, but still keep it upright, and submerge it in the water. Try and get the water as high up as possible without getting it too wet in the bearing. And just like you did with the soap, give it a little press. Don't crack them apart, and you will get that soap back out. So you do that down the line until all the soap is gone, and then you can go off to drying. To dry, I oftentimes just put it in a dish rack. You can hang it up or prop it up, but it's best to keep the bearing upright so that the water flows out of the whip towards the bottom and not back up where you don't want it to be. So you just let it air dry. You can give it a little spin if you want to get some of that extra water out, but once it's dry, then you can go off to doing your lubrication. Now that your BitWhip is nice and clean, you can apply lubrication to it. This is key for allowing your fibers to flow freely, keeping it nice and bright, and ensuring that they don't dry out. So I stress that you use a very, very small amount of lube. You don't need that much. Too much will make it all goopy and gunky and attract dirt, which you don't want. That's the complete opposite of what you want. So thin amount. And microfiber cloth is key. Try not to use something like a regular towel. Little bits of the fibers will end up getting stuck in the lube and then therefore back onto your whip, and you don't want that either. Microfiber is perfect for this, doesn't leave any bits. So just a tiny, tiny bit is all you need. Just put some on there, just like that. You can see, tiny bit. And take your finger and rub it into the fiber cloth. So I've got just a corner here with some on it, and rub it in. Then you take your fibers and your cloth and sandwich between. You just run the cloth along the fibers. Flatten them out as you do so. You flatten them out while you're doing it by pressing them apart with the fiber cloth and running it down the length. So spread them out with your fingers, press them apart just like that. You see them all flat, and running it down the line. Having them separated as we did earlier will help with that, so be sure to do that when you start. And you just keep doing that till you reach the very end. That's all there is to it. This will keep your whip nice and shiny and ensure maximum flow. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I certainly enjoyed making it. So if you have any questions, of course, leave a comment below and we'll get right back to you. I hope you have so much fun finding your flow.